Late at night, Sarah heard soft tapping on her window. She froze, heart racing. Her apartment was on the 3rd floor. There was no way anyone could be out there. She cautiously pulled back the curtain, only to find nothing but the shadow of the tree swaying in the wind. Relieved, she turned back to her bed. Then came a whisper. "I see you." She spun around, eyes wide, but the window was empty. Shaking, she crawled under the covers, trying to calm her breathing. The tapping returned, louder this time. She peeked out again. A face was pressed against the glass, grinning. Sarah's scream caught in her throat as the face on the other side of the window pressed harder against the glass, its grin impossibly wide. She scrambled back from the window, her heart pounding so hard it felt like it would burst from her chest. The face didn't move, but its eyes followed her, glowing faintly in the darkness. She fumbled for her phone, her hands shaking. But when she looked back at the window, it was gone. Trembling, she backed toward the door, desperate to get out of her apartment. Just as her hand touched the doorknob, the lights flickered and went out. She gasped, her eyes straining to see in the pitch black. There was only silence now, no tapping, no whispering, just her rapid breathing filling the room. She took a step forward, but her foot hit something soft on the floor. Reaching down, she touched it, a damp, cold fabric. Suddenly the whisper returned, chilling her to her bones. "I'm already inside." Before she could scream, icy hands wrapped around her neck from behind, pulling her into the darkness. Sarah struggled, gasping for air, clawing at the icy hands gripping her throat. Her vision blurred as panic set in, the strength ebbing from her limbs. Just as she felt herself slipping away, the grip loosened, and the room fell silent again. She collapsed to the floor, coughing, desperate to breathe. Slowly, painfully, she forced herself to stand, every nerve screaming at her to run. But something compelled her to turn around, to face whatever was lurking in the shadows. There was nothing there. The room was still, as if nothing had happened, but the air was thick with a presence, and Sarah knew she wasn't alone. She staggered to the door, her shaking hands fumbling with the lock. As the door finally clicked open, she heard a familiar voice behind her, her own voice distorted, hollow. "Where do you think you're going?" Sarah's blood ran cold. She turned, and staring back at her was a figure, her exact reflection. It smiled, the same twisted grin from the window. Before Sarah could react, the reflection lunged, pulling her into its cold, suffocating embrace. The world around her twisted, the apartment spinning into darkness, until everything went silent. The next morning the apartment was calm, sunlight streaming through the windows, but Sarah wasn't there. In the reflection of the bedroom mirror, however, a new face stared back, grinning,